9 minutes or so of this first half. Up it goes from Brodie Young. Taken well by Ollie Melville. He's caught by Scott Robson. Offloads to Aidan Cross. Skips his way past one tackler. Can't get away from the tackle of Allen. And there could be space down the stand side touchline. Rudy Brown decides to take that one into contact, dealt with by Alex Tom. Alan Ferry had to stoop for that one, couldn't take it cleanly. The referee playing an advantage. Scrum down, Boroughmuir Bears ball.
Yeah, just I kind of entered a phase of this game where both teams are really cancelling each other out. It feels like they've given a lot to the first half hour or so of this game, and they've sapped of energy slightly because, you know, the defences are on top now. Before it was, you know, both teams are attacking really well and asking questions. But this last kind of 5 minutes or so, there's been a kicking battle. It's been a bit more attritional, which you expect between these two teams. Up front, they're really, you know, really talented. And in the backs, they do have personnel that can open the park, but they're still having to feel each other out to see where these gaps are going to appear.
It's been an entertaining first half though, as you alluded to at the start of the match. Conditions really couldn't be any better. The artificial surface here, barely a breath of wind. It really is an afternoon or an evening for running rugby.
I was nervous at the start when I said it was going to be close and Boroughmuir scored after 2 minutes, but I'm glad the scoreline now reflects that again.
I think I said Boroughmuir Bears were maybe slight favourites. I caveated it with slight. Still very much anybody's game, this long way to go. Certainly both come here today to play rugby. 2 tries for Boroughmuir Bears, 3 for the Knights. Chance here for the Bears after some running repairs to one of their front row players. Scrum on halfway, 15 metres in from the stand side touchline. Brodie Young, one of the try scorers, feet of Westlake. Back to Quinlan. Quickly they will miss pass it outside centre. A lovely line there by Adam Scott. Goes straight through the defence. Goes, well, almost was round Adam Hall there. Just dragged down by one boot. Westlake tripped up as there was half a gap in front of him. Young to Quinlan. Cuts back inside. Tackled by Rudy Brown. There's numbers on this touchline, referee playing an advantage. That ball stripped in the tackle by Callum Greaves. A good defence by the Knights fly half, but they were up offside. Another Bears penalty, and they will, I am sure, stick this one in the corner.
Yeah, good first phase move from Boroughmuir Bears, just able to find that hole in defence and feed the seed and put the man through. And great defence again. Ollie Melville, perhaps because there was only a two-man filter coming through for Boroughmuir Bears, perhaps they didn't have any options. It made the tackle slightly easier because he was committed to it, but he still had to execute it. Really good defence. And again, Boroughmuir Bears just not able to capitalise when they're in behind. And now they get the chance, stab it to the corner and put the pressure on again.
Yes, they'll feel that they should have finished that one really when Scott went through. Open space, he had support with him. Credit to the Knights defence for closing that one down. The work cut out here. Arthur Allen can find his man in this line out. He's got McConnell. Instead goes to Fisher in the middle. Back to McGinley.
5 out, 5!
And then to Allen. As they work their way towards the try line. The Knights bring that one to a stop, but now they break away to the right. Now they're going towards that try line. Arthur Allen still in possession. The referee playing advantage. It goes down just short of the Knights try line. Free ball here. Robson goes over the top of one man, but dragged down by Alan Ferry. It's another advantage, not rolling away this time at the breakdown. Tackle by Rudy Brown, very close to the try line. Arthur Allen stopped just short again. King could well be over. The referee says still short. So play away again through Brodie Young. Jack Fisher spins his way into contact there, ends up backwards. Could be space out wide now. Scott, he drops that ball. Scott going very close. Position initially came really from the break of Scott back on halfway, but loses the ball in contact. Boroughmuir Bears will have another go.
3 inside entry.
Yeah, good attacking play from Boroughmuir Bears. They were persistent, they were consistent coming around the corner as well. But just when they try and get it in the wider channel, just an innocuous little tackle just strips the ball, but it'll just be press the reset button and go again.
On the line, please.
4 minutes to half time, still the Knights with that 5 points advantage. Bears will be looking to go in ahead at half time. This time it's McConnell, same setup, but go to the man in front. Bears well set here, galloping towards the try line, over the goal, and Arthur Allen with his second try of the match. And it's 19 apiece.
Very similar to that first try that he scored to open proceedings in the game. The maul was formed and driven in exactly the same fashion, brought down, well gathered by McConnell, and then you can see it starts to twist towards the right hand side again. So the Southern Knights players having to filter round, keep coming round to try and stop that, that momentum, and then eventually it yields and the left hand side opens up and it allows Arthur Allen perhaps an easier crack at the line this time than he did in the opening exchanges.
So both sides very well organised with their line out mauls. 3 for the Bears. This could be the last kick of the game, of the half I should say, apologies. And Quinlan has been accurate from this side, missed a penalty earlier from the other side. It's curled 2 conversions round from almost identical position. Can he put Boroughmuir Bears into the lead at half time? He certainly can. Curls that one round once more as the referee Michael Todd blows for half time. It's the Southern Knights 19, Boroughmuir Bears 21.
Yeah, perhaps it's a fair scoreline on the balance of play. Boroughmuir Bears came out in brilliant fashion. The Southern Knights perhaps won the middle section of the first half, and then the Bears come back into it at the end. So, in terms of the balance of play, I would say we knew it was going to be tight at half time, but it's certainly shaped up well for an entertaining next 40 minutes, because they're still sizing each other up for next week as well.
Yes, these two, as we said earlier, they'll go head to head again up in Edinburgh. 5th against 6 playoffs. Here's the first try. Arthur Allen go over. He wasn't even 2 minutes old from the line out drive.
Yeah, that first try that Arthur Allen scored, we've seen it at the end of the half. They've been perfectly bookended actually, because we've seen it at the end of the half as well. But it's been a game, the first 40 minutes that forwards have really dominated, and then after that try the Southern Knights came back in and replied.
Yes, they recognised that the space was out wide. Ben Douglas lurking on the left wing. Still a bit of work to do. Did well to stay in the field of play as he went over. Conversion was missed at that point. Boroughmuir Bears led 7 points to 5. And then they scored their second try. Brodie Young breaking through there and showing a clean pair of heels to the defence, chased by Ollie Melville, but didn't quite have the gas to get there. Great work by the Bears halfback.
Yeah, it was Westlake makes that. He can, when the ruck's formed there, McConnell sets up the platform and Westlake grabs the ball, draws that guard in, just a nice little tip on, and any little scrum half with their wits about them will be sniffing at that sort of opportunity. And it was great work from Young just to spot that opportunity and go in for a try.
Yes, Westlake's shown up well. Number 8 for Boroughmuir Bears. Provider there for Brodie Young. Conversion by Quinlan was successful, so Bears leading 14 points to 5. Then Russell Anderson, you see, with ball in hand as that Southern Knights maul drove towards the line, and it was dragged down by Arthur Allen, so he was shown a yellow card, and the referee under the post for penalty try. And then the Southern Knights got their noses in front. Short range try by Callum Davidson, the scrum half, so both scrum halves scoring in that first half. And Grieve with the conversion, so the Knights leading by 5 points. Boroughmuir Bears with the last word of that first half. Arthur Allen with his second, as Dale said, from an almost identical position to the first.
Yeah, I think, and that probably summarises, the first half perfectly. The two scrum halves scoring off a great work from the forwards, and then all the other tries have been really forward orientated. They've been driving mauls, they've been persistent pressure from the big burly boys up front. So, Finn Douglas's try as well, that was from relentless pressure from the forwards. So the forwards are executing their game plan brilliantly on both sides, but I think it's just going to be a matter of which backs can show up the best in the second half. It's slightly worrying for the Southern Knights. They've only got two backs on the bench, but in terms of the second half, it's shaping up nicely.
So half time then here at the Greenyards, our final league game in this year's Sprint Series. Still got next weekend's playoff matches to come, and it's a tight one. Boroughmuir Bears with that slender 2 points advantage. Southern Knights 19, Boroughmuir Bears 21.
I genuinely haven't.
Yeah, it's a spider with a Y, but to be honest, it's good sometimes, but I think about two exactly the same on it. Just like the Look, is there anything else you want We've only got 5 minutes, so.
Welcome back to the Greenyards. We're just waiting on the Southern Knights coming back out. Boroughmuir Bears already back on the pitch. Looking forward to the second half. Final 40 minutes of league action in this year's Sprint Series. Looking forward to the playoff games next weekend. Certainly an entertaining first half, Dale, with the visitors holding just that narrow 2 points advantage at the break.
Yeah, just able to squeeze back into the lead at the end of the first half. And as we said at the end of the first half, when we were running through all the tries, it was very forward orientated. You know, a couple of heavy hitters on both sides, being able to utilise their drive and maul. So, you know, a lot of that comes into playing a bit of smart rugby as well. They've both got strengths in their sides. Like being able to play in the right areas, and I'm sure, you know, Graham Shield and Alan Tate would have been telling their sides just that at half time. You know, get us into good positions that we can put pressure on the opposition, and that's exactly what they'll be looking to do in the second half. As Russell Anderson now just leads the Knights on, ready to get the second half underway.
Just looking to see if there have been any changes made. I don't see any new faces in that Boroughmuir Bears side. Sam Derrick on for the Southern Knights. In fact, is it Rory Brand?
I think both of them are on. I see Sam Derrick with number 23, Rory Brand, and number 21 as well. So a couple of replacements for the Knights at half time.
Sam Derrick, always a forward, was covering the backs today. So backline players with all their injuries, the Southern Knights. It's Callum Grieve who gets us underway in the second half. Tackle made by Will Hopes in the chase. Young is taking his time over this one. Gets it over the charging player, and Rory Brand, former Watsonian with Southern Knights. For the second half, scrum half. And in goes Brandon. Just to thread the ball through between forwards. Away comes Grieve. Ollie Melville, who's booked the ball there. Taken well at the back there by Tom Quinlan. Your Bears back just about where they started. To Fisher. Again. Brody Young will kick. It's almost like Groundhog Day over the top again of Gary Young. Didn't quite get the same distance that time. Rory Brand couldn't take it. Ollie Melville does. Brand out to Ferry. There could be space over on the far side. Grieve to Adam Hall. Decides to just straighten into contact. Next inside centre. Ferry again waiting. As first receiver, then out the back to Grieve, and there's space down this touchline if they can get it there. Away goes Finn Douglas. It's a good tackle there by his opposite number, Mason Cullen. Southern Knights now, and Ferry just outside the Bears 22. Brand again to Grieve, just drops the ball off there to Gamble. In fact, it was Dobie. He's lost that ball in the contact. Your Bears survive again. Knights keep their hands off that. They'll be frustrated having lost the ball, having got themselves into the Boroughmuir Bears 22 to capitalise. A couple of visits to that danger zone in the first half. Same again there, just not as secure as they would have liked in the contact. And the Boroughmuir Bears send a clearing kick up the stand side touchline.
Yeah, when Douglas got in behind, Southern Knights looked to try and keep that momentum, keep it going. Alan Ferry picking up the ball, looking to make the Boroughmuir Bears defence work hard round the corner, make sure that they're getting back into defensive position, but just not able to capitalise in the end. It is interesting to see that Sam Derrick is actually lining up in the kind of 12-13 position as well, so I think it looks like Zach Smith has left the field of play, so it's going to be a test of his rugby ability in the second 40 minutes, but he's a really talented young individual.
There's a 6-2 split on the bench, so Sam Derrick back row runs the short line there but doesn't get it. Go behind instead to Aidan Cross. Double tackle, those the two players came off worse. That's bounce for Rory Brand. Doesn't bounce kindly for him the second time, or he was clean through. Your Bears just hacked that one off downfield. Ollie Melville. The Finn Douglas, we've already seen what he can do. Tries to go round the last man, but he's dealt with well by Mason Cullen again. Seemed a little bit indecisive by Alex Tom, but the referee awards the penalty against Southern Knights for going off their feet. Your Bears with the penalty could have gone horribly wrong over on the far side, and the referee involved in a collision with two Southern Knights players who both collapsed to the ground. The referee somehow stayed on his feet.
Yeah, I think Michael Todd will want to see that back in his highlight reel, because he's counted a couple of the big ball carriers from the Southern Knights, so it was a good show of strength from the referee. But in the end there, when it eventually came that passage of play, Douglas just getting a little bit isolated, was well tackled first up, and then it's got nowhere to really go, and Melville was the guilty party of sealing off there, just going over the ball, not allowing the ball to come back into play. So Southern Knights building and then falling into some old habits again and being penalised. But yeah, Michael Todd, a great show of strength. That's probably that's going in the highlight reel, surely.
Game for the Knights next season. It's good to see Finn Douglas, who scored the first Knights try 8 minutes into this game, with the confidence to have a go on the outside, but it was a little bit lateral, which made the tackle relatively easy for Mason Cullen. As you say, he was running away from his support, got himself isolated, and penalty to Boroughmuir Bears. Got some running repairs here to Jamie Campbell.
Yeah, I thought that passage of play, I thought it was a great challenge, a great tackle from Mason Cullen, but when he tried to get up and fight for the ball, it almost looked a bit clumsy, and I thought he potentially was straight off his feet. I thought it gave the Southern Knights an opportunity to get the ball back, but Melville was guilty of sealing off that ball. So the referee, Michael Todd, I think he's perhaps speaking to Dan Gamble now, because I think he was one of the players that was felled originally, so maybe making up.
Dan Gamble seeing the funny side of it. Good to see him in a Southern Knights jersey, formerly with Heriots, but of course local, relatively local. Kelso came up through the ranks there.
Yeah, I think it's good to see players of his ilk go back to the south of Scotland and play for the Southern Knights. There's a lot of players have to go elsewhere for education and work opportunities. So it's always good when you do see Border players back in the area playing for the Border side. Same with the Edinburgh sides as well. A lot of those players travel elsewhere. So it's always good to see some of the local talent coming through these various avenues to the professional ranks. So it's good to see Dan Gamble getting some good game time.
Ollie Melville penalised for going off his feet at the breakdown. Kick to touch by Arthur Allen. 10 minutes in the sin bin. The first half, having dragged down the line out maul, which led to the Southern Knights penalty try. Finds Fisher in the middle. Quickly fed back to Allen. Ground to your Boroughmuir Bears. Young just tells the forwards to keep working, keep going forward. Now Young will send this one out to the back line. He's got Robson waiting for it. It goes to Quinlan. To Joe Jenkins galloping down that left touchline. He's tackled well. Ball goes loose, snapped up by the Southern Knights. Let's take that one into contact, presumably setting themselves up an angle for the kick. Rory Brand on at scrum half. Threads it back through the legs of the Caterpillar. That will land in the arms of Adam Scott. Still on the Boroughmuir Bears 10-metre line, and he sees some space in behind. That could well be a 50-22. Just evaded Ollie Melville as it angled across field. Ross Maben, the assistant referee on this side, does stick the arm out towards Boroughmuir Bears. Fantastic kick.
Yeah, that was always going to be difficult for Melville to try and cover. The play was over on that far side, and when it was brought back, and eventually when Scott got the ball in his hands, you could just see him craning his neck to the corner, which had oodles of space, and it was a perfectly executed kick. Got the benefit of the bounce as well, and just goes off in the 22 area. So, you know, a defensive kick turns into something which is going to be a great attacking opportunity.
No score so far in the opening 5 minutes of the second half. What can Boroughmuir Bears do from here? Once again, they get that line-out maul set up in the hands of Arthur Allen. Break off to the right and find themselves a bit of a gap to drive through. Take the play up now to 7 or 8 metres away from the Knights try line. As they break away, they've been tackled by the Knights, so they'll play away again in behind the forwards. Robson to Quinlan, thought about the pass, straightens, taken down by Russell Anderson. Switch of direction, and up comes Will Hopes racing out the line there. Spot tackle by the Knights second row. The start this week, Liam McConnell. Shimmy takes that into contact. The Bears have just lost 2 or 3 metres here. Josh King again gets them on the front foot. Carried by the second row. Ian Carmichael on now in the front row. Another front row, Marcus Goodwin. The Bears forwards come racing round the corner. Matched though by the Southern Knights defence. Attack and defence equal to each other for now. Jack Fisher again. And now they're going very close. Boroughmuir Bears pick and go again. See Alan Ferry in there, referee says short. Brody Young waits on this one, coming back in behind the forwards. Quinlan with a long pass out there, and this could be the try. Good footwork there, and over goes Mason Cullen. Great work there by the Boroughmuir Bears right wing, and they picked their moment well. They allowed the forwards to carry, they sucked in that Southern Knights defence, and then they went wide. That long pass by Tom Quinlan into the arms of Mason Cullen. He still had an awful lot of work to do. Stepped twice off his right foot and over the try line.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you said there. They picked their moment to go wide because it was relentless pressure again up front, and you just thought it was only a matter of time before one of the big ball carriers got over, but they spotted the space because they'd sucked all that defence in. You see there, Brand and Douglas are the players that are the furthest out. They've got to cover that space, and that's because the defensive line's all disjointed. The defence was so congested in that towards that contact area that it was well picked out there. It looked like it was a difficult ball from Quinlan when he did distribute it to Cullen on the wing, but well gathered, well finished from a winger. A dangerous player on the wing, Mason Cullen, and showing what he can do from close angles.
I thought Quinlan perhaps had taken the wrong option to throw it straight to the wing, and maybe should have gone through the hands. It just allowed the Knights defence to slide across, but I underestimated the footwork of Mason Cullen. And Quinlan, what a wonderful kick, curls this one round from the more difficult side for him. And Boroughmuir Bears, having trailed 17 points to 14 15 minutes before half time, have now established a fairly healthy looking 9 points advantage.
Yeah, and I think that especially that try, it's what I kind of alluded to in the first half. Southern Knights are a good team when they've got the ball in hand, but the difficulty is when they play teams that like to retain possession for a long time. You know, they struggle, and that all comes back to that kick there from Adam Scott as well. You know, that was a 50-22, kicking it into the corner, getting that attacking opportunity, and they eventually score.
So the Bears perhaps a little more clinical with their visits to the 22, again coming away with points. And it's taken by Fisher from the restart. Forward comes Jack Dobie racing off the line to make the tackle. Counter ruck by Dan Gamble. It goes straight up in the air, tapped back by Ian Carmichael. He would have been out the 10 there, but maybe played onside by another Boroughmuir Bears player. Anyway, they send that one long. Grieve waiting on it. Weighs up his options. Chip over the top there, that should be taken by Joe Jenkins. Scragged there by Callum Grieve as he chased his own kick, but it's with Boroughmuir Bears just on their side of halfway. And Carmichael certainly getting himself involved in the action. Come on at half time. Again, they'll go to the skies through Brodie Young.
Right, stop and hold over 10. Hold.
Just sends that one back into Boroughmuir Bears territory. Adam Scott decides to run that one, taken down by Will Holtz. He's looked dangerous with ball in hand, Adam Scott, Boroughmuir Bears fullback. Ian McConnell, Scotland under 20 captain. Again, space in behind, judged well by Finn Douglas as he went back. Could be taken down by Mason Cullen. Will it open up for the Knights' left winger? Goes across field, still hasn't been brought down. Eventually dragged to deck on the Knights' 22. It's with the forwards. It's a good carry again by Alan Ferry. Played well last week and again to the fore. Nice tip on by Russell Anderson. Ball being lost, it has indeed. Frustrating for the Southern Knights, and look to be building nicely for them there. It'll be a Boroughmuir Bears scrum.
Yeah, you know, there was parts of that play that were really good from the Knights. They were able to build a little bit of momentum. Good running from Douglas across field to go to where the supporting players were. But just Boroughmuir at this stage just look a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more composed in what they're doing. You know, putting pressure. They're using that kicking game impeccably as well through Quinlan and Scott. You know, able to look at the spaces in the park and kick their team into the right area. You know, a lot of pressure from Mason Cullen on that kick on Douglas means that Douglas has to go in field. You know, he's not wanting that one-on-one opportunity. He has to go back in field, and it means that, you know, you're tempting and teasing the opposition out of their own half, which just brings a little mistake in there.
These box kicks, just keep your guys on quite tight and chasing, so makes sure you get extra.
Now I think this was the little passage of play that eventually resulted in that knock-on. You could see the ball carriers just going forward. I think Dan Gamble just guilty of not looking after the ball in contact. A lot of players there in support as well for the Southern Knights, but just not able to keep the ball in hand.
Well, Hopes didn't seem to be involved in that. It was him who was receiving some treatment. Seems to be okay though.
Yeah, there was an earlier tackle out. I watched Hopes and he bolted out the defensive line and put in a huge challenge, and then just instantly started stretching his calf. So he obviously cramped up or, you know, pulled something quite quickly. But it's good to see him shake that off and back in the pack.
A solid line-out target today for Southern Knights. He's carried well, he's tackled well. Off the bench, he played about 40 minutes last week and was one of the standout players. I'm surprised to see him starting alongside Jamie Campbell in the second row today.
Bind! Set! 9, stay back!
Solid scrum by Boroughmuir Bears. Are going to keep that ball in there. Penalty advantage. The Knights seem to have dominance earlier in the game, but the last couple of scrums would suggest that's now shifted the way of Boroughmuir Bears.
Yeah, you can see the celebrations there as well. Westlake, he's very vocal. A bit of a potty mouth, but he's very vocal. But it's you know, good work up front from the Boroughmuir Bears, because the Southern Knights mostly in the front eight. You know, they've been on top of the opposition, and slowly but surely, you know, the Boroughmuir Bears are just starting to turn the screw a little bit on the Knights, especially when it comes to these sort of things, controlling the game, controlling the scoreboard, and kicking the team back towards their own goal line.
Still half an hour left in this one. Boroughmuir Bears can really take the game by the scruff of the neck. They score from here. Josh King again, the target in the line out.
One, sideways!
So Bears being asked to play away here. Robson was an option, but Joe Jenkins clean through the middle. However, the referee says he was taking the defender out. As they run that line, you'll see that umpteen times in any game of rugby, and it will be allowed to play on. But if we see that one on the replay, perhaps Scott Robson, the captain, did take a man out, because there was a huge hole there for Joe Jenkins.
Yeah, you can see here, well formed, starting to crab inside as well. And the nine's just looking to travel with this and look for his opportunity to strike. Eventually gets his hands on the ball. And there's just that little bit of crossing. You can see the referee just saying that the Southern Knights player was obstructed there. He just caught a glimpse of it. As you say, Bruce, it's one of those decisions that, 9 times out of 10 the referee doesn't let it play.
Just a standard blocker play, I think probably the most common or popular, whatever you want to call it, play in rugby at the minute. But Callum Grieve was deemed to have been taken out by Scott Robson. Penalty to Southern Knights. They kick to touch, win the ball from the line out. And here comes Aidan Cross, and there's numbers in space here. Away goes Finn Douglas, getting more and more into the game. Bounces nicely for Joe Jenkins. And he sends that one down the right touchline. Takes play back into the Southern Knights half.
Good play first phase. The Southern Knights looking to use that width. They managed to manipulate that overlap as well. The kick from Douglas downfield as well was a difficult one to gather, but eventually, the bounce of the ball was fortunate for the Bears. It means they can clear their lines. Sometimes when your luck's in, and you feel the now, because of the way Boroughmuir Bears are playing, they benefit from the bounce of the ball, but it's because they're controlling the game.
Russell Anderson to Will Hopes again. Rudy Brown breaks away from the line out, driven to deck by Arthur Allen. I think Erin Demerel on now in the second row for the Southern Knights. He certainly had bulk for the pack. Rory Brand getting a bit of a telling off there by the referee, trying to milk a penalty. Good work there by Boroughmuir Bears defence. Create them all there at the tackle, and then it doesn't come back immediately on the Southern Knights side, so of course that means turnover ball, Boroughmuir Bears scrum.
Yeah, definitely. It was again just the play slowed down there because of the pressure at the ruck there from Boroughmuir Bears. And as you say, you can hear the communication with from Michael Todd to Rory Brand saying not to the penalty, and how dare he. But it was certainly eventually when the play run to ground, just a little bit of carelessness, and I think that's because the Boroughmuir Bears are controlling the game. They're dictating how Southern Knights are attacking them as well, and just leading them into down dark alleys to have opportunities to try and turn over the ball.
Will Hopes stretching again. It's the pitch. He's feeling his calves. See how much longer he will last. Westlake again controlling this at the base as Boroughmuir Bears look to win another penalty from the set piece, but we'll just spin round, so the referee will reset it.
Both running around in the spot, lads, no dominance, reset.
Forward on the loose head side of the Bears scrum, but the referee explaining to them there was no dominance.
And that's a fresh front row for the Bears as well. It's still the original front row for the Knights. So it's going to be a different battle in the scrum now, and you'll see if the early replacements for the Bears can pay dividends in the forward battle.
It's a strong replacement front row for the Bears. Blythe Lafferty at hooker and Carmichael and Martin McGinley. However, it's too much weight, the referee saying, coming through from the Bears. There's a free kick awarded to the Southern Knights.
Yeah, you could see that they were just putting a little bit too much pressure on it, the engagement, and just started to nudge the Knights back just before the ball was put in. So it's a good spot from Michael Todd.
Yeah, just have to speak a bit last. No hit and chase, stability on the set, no hit and chase. That's what I saw.
So Southern Knights opt for the scrum from the free kick. Rory Brand discussing a quick word with his half-back partner Callum Grieve.
Coach! Bind! Set!
Rudy Brown still at the base for Southern Knights. I think they'll be called into action here. Pixon just gives it to Brand as he go down the blind side. He's got Aidan Cross with him. Good break by Brand. Throws the dummy, takes play into the 22. He's still going, Rory Brand. Spins his way through another tackle. Stopped a metre or two short. So Southern Knights, a fantastic opportunity to get themselves right back into the game here. Demerel lurking. Rory Brand gives it to Demerel. Taken to deck, still 2 or 3 metres short. Russell Anderson now is scrum half. Pixon goes, he had Brown there with him. Instead, went himself the captain. Jack Dobie this time lurking. Dan Gamble there. 2 props drive towards the Boroughmuir Bears try line. Again, pick and go round the corner. Alan Ferry. Again, just trying to tighten up that Boroughmuir Bears defence. Hint of space out wide now, but that's very slow ball as the Southern Knights backs flooded round to the right. So still with the forwards. In fact, that's been stolen by Boroughmuir Bears. Great work by the Bears defence. Not the best of kicks. It does go out into touch just 10 or 12 metres away from the try line, but Boroughmuir Bears, not for the first time in this game, survive a goal line attack.
Yeah, there's been 3 occasions that I can think of, in this game that they've been under relentless pressure and been able to turn over the ball or put enough pressure at the breakdown that it just completely disrupted the cohesion of the passage of play from the Southern Knights. Just made that breakdown really messy, made it an absolute dogfight in there, and then they were able to get their hands in their mitts in there as it started to disperse. So a great work from the Boroughmuir Bears in defence again. It's a fragile 9-point lead that they've currently got, and they're certainly clinging on to it just now. Great break by Brand as well. That was straight off a scrum, had options on the outside from Cross, showed good power and pace, and after that as well, after Ferry carried, he was able to get up to the next breakdown and recycle himself. Great energy. I think he's a cracking scrum half.
I'm not sure if we can have another look at the breakdown. The Boroughmuir Bears turned that ball over. I don't know if the Southern Knights had just maybe lost the focus slightly because the backs came flooding around the corner to set up. They were clearly going to play it away. Brand was just biding his time, waiting on the moment to pass it, and Boroughmuir Bears just came flooding through the breakdown and turned that one over. I'd say just as well, because I think Knights probably did have space and numbers down the right flank.
I think that passage of play showed that the difficulties that the Knights have had. Just when they're looking to strike and go to the right hand side there, they just weren't able to strike at the right time. So you can see there just the Boroughmuir Bears just making a mess of that breakdown, putting a bit of pressure on, trying to drive through, getting bodies in the road, lifting legs, and eventually it was just a matter of power. They were nudging over, so that's all it is. It's a power game in there.
You can't see the Knights had 5 players off to the left of your shot there, just waiting on that ball coming out, but it never appeared. However, they do have possession inside the Bears 22 again from the line out. Captain Russell Anderson with the ball, he breaks away and just drops the ball off to Adam Hall inside centre.
Advantage offside.
Alan Ferry again, the referee playing an advantage for offside, so Rory Brand and Grieve will have a go wide. Ollie Melville, Aidan Cross with him, wants to take it into contact. Erm Demerel, the ball out the back, and the flat pass to Will Hopes as well. The half spin out the tackle of Scott McGinley. The referee says no advantage accruing. He'll go back for the penalty.
Captain, 2 PKs.
We'll kick again to the corner. They've looked good when they win the ball from the line out and set them all up, and they should get themselves pretty close here. Up goes the assistant referee's flag. It's about 7 metres away. Assistant referee David Chan lying on that side of the pitch.
Yeah, good chance here for the Southern Knights again, just to really utilise that driving ball with some fresh legs in the park as well. Anderson needs to find his target.
Hopes, I imagine, will be the man. He has to reach across for that. Didn't quite get their timing right, wasn't at the top of his jump as that ball sailed almost over his head, got fingertips to it, knocked down onto the Boroughmuir Bears side. Some frustration again for the Southern Knights. He's still got 18 minutes left to play in this one, and a try for the Knights who get themselves right back into it. But from the kick, Martin McGinley comes up with it. Good chase by the Bears open side. Out the front row, Rory Brand tried to steal that one in the contact. Again, Brodie Young goes to the air, doesn't get a huge amount of distance on that one. Two Knights players go up for it. Ball being knocked on, it has indeed. Moving cross coming forward. Two Knights players getting in each other's way, so it'll be a scrum feed for the Boroughmuir Bears.
A couple of opportunities there that the Knights have had in the Bears 22, just not able to capitalise. The last one is probably the one that's criminal, because Hopes isn't at the top of his jump. Anderson can't hit his target, and it goes straight into Boroughmuir Bears' hands. But just after that, I think it's getting slightly scrappy with the box kicks, but I think that plays into Boroughmuir Bears' hands, because they can feed off of these loose balls and perhaps capitalise, because it's the other Knights that are chasing the game. So it's starting to kind of unthread slightly, but it's not a bad thing for the Boroughmuir Bears.
Bears perhaps look for a penalty again from the scrum. Westlake still at the back. Now the pressure comes on from the Southern Knights this time, and they win the penalty. A great scrum there by the Southern Knights, forces the Boroughmuir Bears front row to go up. So opportunity perhaps not lost, as they will find a position again inside that Boroughmuir Bears 22.
Good kick there from Grieve, and you felt that during that passage of play, the Boroughmuir Bears are actually starting to grow into the game in terms of the battle of the scrum. And I think those replacements for Southern Knights have worked. Bringing the likes of Greer and Harrison off the bench, showing their strength up front as well, counteracting the early replacements from the Bears.
Martin McGinley comes away with that. It's a huge carry from the replacement, tight head drop, ripped up by Rudy Brown. So back with Southern Knights, having initially lost it from the line out. Rory Brand waiting on this one. Fight to get it back. Maybe a little bit heated in there. It's been competitive between the two sets of forwards. Doesn't come back. Referee explaining, player trapped, can't come back, scrum down, Knights ball.
Again, a really scrappy line out there, just not able to find the target.
Don't have a go at me and then walk away shaking your head. As a captain, you set the example, that's not what it is. I've seen that he's released and then played it again. If you have a different opinion, that's it, but that's how I've seen it. Unplayable.
Firm refereeing there by Michael Todd, not taking any nonsense from Scott Robson, Bears captain today, in the absence of Craig Kerry.
Stay down, drive through, stay down under pressure. I've just spoken to him. Coach! Bind! Set!
What can the Knights do from here? Go right again, Rudy Brown to Brand. Threatened a change of direction, instead gives it to Aidan Cross, going backwards. Tried down by Westlake. Managed to get the ball away to Alan Ferry. To Russell Anderson, who just dips the shoulder, takes it into contact. Rudy Brown into secure possession. Now Grieve with a couple of options, goes out the back. Ollie Melville, good hands there to Finn Douglas, puts boot to ball. But it's charged down by Scott Robson. Again, not for the first time in this game, racing across in defence, the captain, and forces that one into touch. However, it will still be Southern Knights throw into the line out, but 10 metres away from the Bears try line. We've seen what they can do from here. Get towards that stage in the game, 15 minutes left to play, where they really do need to score and set up a grandstand finish here at the Greenyards.
Yeah, good option there from Douglas though, just to kick it. And it's ricocheted off a body, giving Knights a good attacking position. Again though, that's 3 line-outs in a row that the Knights in great attacking positions have just coughed up the ball and given it back to the Bears.
Timing issue perhaps. Erin Demerel was the target, beaten to it by one of the Boroughmuir Bears players. Finn Douglas not hanging about. Quick throw in to Ollie Melville. Good work there by the fullback. Ties George Paul and knocks. And now away goes Owen Harrison on in the front row now for the Southern Knights. And Ferry just knocking that ball on, trying to take it into contact. Ball kicked through, bounces up nicely for Aidan Cross. Back to Ollie Melville. And the referee, you could hear him screaming that was carried back. Ollie Melville either didn't hear him or didn't execute this kick properly. Either way, he's kicked that one out on the full, which of course, because it was carried back into the 22, means the line-out will be back in line with where he kicked it. So it just hands possession in a very good attacking position to the Boroughmuir Bears.
Yeah, if you were chasing a 9-point deficit and you wanted 20 seconds of bad decisions, it's probably just happened there for the Knights. Quick throw at the line out, just not able to get in behind, unforced error, gives the ball back and then kicking out in the full. That's a huge turnaround from being in a great attacking position from a line out, knocking at the door, and all of a sudden they're back in their own 22.
So that will have frustrated the Southern Knights coaching team, no doubt. Still Boroughmuir Bears with that 9 points advantage. Plenty of time for the Knights still to get back into this one, but they'll have to be much more clinical when they're presented with opportunities, and they'll have to keep Boroughmuir Bears out here. As away goes Jerry Blythe Lafferty from the base. Forward comes Adam Hall to shut that one down. In behind Tristan Andrews, and then Joe Jenkins again pops up off his left wing. Throws the ball inside to nobody in particular, but it's picked up by Callum Ram. And he gets away from the tackle and he'll go in the corner. Great work there by Callum Ram. Tackle really should have been made. I think Kieran Clark, the man who misses it, and Callum Ram, strong running by the Boroughmuir Bears replacement, and he scores the try that will probably win this game for the visitors.
Yeah, got a bit scrappy, but Ram able to scoop up the ball. There's 3-4 Southern Knights players there looking to get the free arm, and eventually just the grabbing of the shirts just yields for the Southern Knights, and he just manages to mosey his way in for a score right in the corner. And you just think about before what had happened in terms of how games swing. The Knights have been, for 5-10 minutes, relentless pressure in the Boroughmuir Bears 22, a couple of bad decisions, and all of a sudden slip tackles and snake hips Ram is able just to weave his way in the corner, and it's now a huge advantage that the Boroughmuir Bears have. 5
tries for Boroughmuir Bears. It's perhaps been a little bit unkind to Kieran Clark, because Callum Ram somehow managed to wriggle his way out of about 5 tackles in his way to the try line there. Simply disappointing. No doubt annoy Alan Tate, the Southern Knights head coach, himself was an outstanding defender.
We see it here again, just the passage of play itself was scrappy, and when the ball goes to ground there, it's just not killed at all by the Southern Knights. A lot of players up there, but great awareness from Ram. That is all about leg drive, endeavour, awareness as well, and he knew the finish was on. Just a little kick of the heels and then he goes.
Flirting with that touchline as well to stay in the field of play. Great play by the replacement fullback. Dink over the top, the shoot bounce up nicely for Rory Brand. Weighs up his options, goes past Mason Cullen, then heads backwards. Hard by Tristan Andrews.
No, he's not on ball, he's on body.
Then comes Demerel. It's a loose pass, but bounces up nicely for Grieve. Demerel has to go in and secure that under a lot of pressure from Kieran Westlake.
That's a mess, get him back for the offside.
The referee saying no advantage there to the Southern Knights. Boroughmuir Bears offside. Now 14 points the difference. I think the best that Knights can hope for in the closing 10 minutes of this one would be a couple of tries, get themselves a draw somehow from a game that they'll feel they should have done much better in.
Yeah, you think about 5 minutes ago this was a different game we were watching, and now all of a sudden the Knights are having to try and get themselves back into positions, and they're now having to try and reset all the accuracy that they've been lacking over the last kind of 10-15 minutes. In a similar position now in the Boroughmuir Bears 22, a chance for Anderson to hit his target, but he's not been able to do it the last three line-outs. So this is going to be an interesting set piece here.
Well, he's lost hopes and he's lost Campbell over his go-to line-out options. Demeril again can't get the ball. So the line-out really has fallen to pieces, and it was a weapon for the Southern Knights earlier in the game. Martin McGinley, the carry, and now Rory Swan on it. Scrum half for Boroughmuir Bears. No messing about there by Swan, just punches that into touch.
Yeah, you know that we're talking a lot about is Russell Anderson is actually going to be replaced here, but we've spoken a lot about the last 4 lineouts, and obviously they didn't go to plan. There was 2 that were perhaps the Southern Knights' fault, and there was 2 that were Boroughmuir Bears just reading it well. You know, sometimes when teams are down, it's easy to kick them, but you know, Boroughmuir Bears were reading the lineouts well. They were able to watch the jumpers, follow them, track them, and steal. Now it's Craig Greer who's going to take over throwing duties for the Southern Knights.
As you can see, replacement hooker Finn Barry in front of the Knights line out. Craig Greer, the blue side prop, to throw in unusually. Justin Andrews getting some treatment.
Certainly going to be an early tester as well for Greer, because confidence will be low. They'll be high on the opposition in terms of reading the line out, but they'll certainly be ropey for the Knights.
A bit of movement there, and it works for them, because Greer does find Demeril at the front. Whipped out quickly through the hands of Grieve to Rudy Brown in the midfield. Released the ball, got back to his feet and went again and again. It's a good work there by the Southern Knights number 8. It's a good 10 or 15 metres for his side, takes play to just outside the Boroughmuir Bears 22. Alan Ferry now. The back row working well for the Southern Knights. And now Ollie Melville out in the wide channels, ball back inside to Kieran Clark. Hit hard on the tackle, but play now just on the fringes of that Boroughmuir Bears 22. Through the forwards again, that's been stolen by Boroughmuir Bears at the breakdown. However, they then infringe by going over the top of the breakdown. I think Rory Brand has taken a sore one there.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting conversation, but you can see that the build-up in play here. Here, Michael Todd over his microphone as well, but Rory Brand was just behind the next ruck there.
Captain in 20.
I know what's coming here, but it's obviously, I think you watch that back, and I think David Chanley and Michael Todd will perhaps see a different version of that. It's difficult in real time, we benefit from highlights, but there was certainly Tristan Andrews came in and absolutely clattered Brand on the head. I think that was he's lucky that's a yellow. It wouldn't matter anyway in terms of the game.
Just about to say though, they don't have the benefit of a monitor that we do, but that did look like head contact. You can hear the referee say he didn't have any mitigation. He obviously thought it wasn't head contact in this discussion with David Chang Leng. So yellow card given, as you say, we offer the remainder of the game. Erin Demeril. So Boroughmuir Bears down to 14 here. Southern Knights have taken that one to deck themselves, the referee says, so no penalty. And it doesn't come back. That will frustrate the Southern Knights again. Rory Brand was waiting on that coming back, of course, because it was a collapsed maul that doesn't emerge. Ball turned over, and Boroughmuir Bears will have a scrum feed here. We're down into the closing 7 minutes in this game. The Southern Knights, they just seem to have wasted umpteen opportunities inside that Bears 22.
Yeah, you can hear a lot of the frustrations boiling over. Obviously, the language is obviously a bit choice at times, but you can hear it, and it's frustrating for both sides. You know, the Southern Knights trying and being forced into errors, maybe not being able to just fully capitalise on the territorial advantage that they have. And Boroughmuir Bears just digging in, looking to make sure that they run as much time out of this game as possible and hold on for this win.
The Knights will look to put pressure on at the scrum here. Solid Bears scrum to get it moving forward. The referee says Both front rows going up, those will reset.
Yeah, another chance for the scrums to lock on. So it's been an interesting battle in the forwards as well. You know, we did say the game has been really forward orientated. It's been really focused up front. There's another chance here with the replacements to just add another chapter to the battle in the tight areas.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Rory Swan again into Bear scrum, no messing about this time, just quickly off to Robson. Bounces off the tackle of Rory Brand. So not to kick. And just go through another phase. So Swan this time will kick, sends it over the top. Fairly flat looking kick into touch. Aidan Cross lurking over there, but never had any chance of getting that. He's just fallen over the hoardings. He seemed to have injured himself.
Across, please.
Yeah, just the times perhaps just getting slightly away from the Southern Knights now, even with a man advantage, just not able to just find that consistency in their play so far. You know, the second half they've perhaps not really pushed on from where they built. It was a promising first 40 minutes. They'll be hoping to the last roll of the dice here.
Out it goes to Aidan Cross, pops up off his right wing. Tackled well by Mason Cullen. Again, the Bears trying to win possession, and again they win the penalty. They've been very effective at the breakdown today, the Boroughmuir Bears. It's always a real target of theirs in games, one of the best at it. The Knights will be frustrated that they've just at times allowed separation between the ball carrier and the cleaners. And credit to Boroughmuir Bears in that department today.
Yeah, you know, Boroughmuir Bears, you look at their back row. Westlake's been impressive carrying the ball, but you know, McConnell and McGinley good over the ball. Fisher and King in the middle row as well. You know, their players, like King, is equally as comfortable in the back row as well. You know, they're players that are, you know, they just love those opportunities. They love a sniff of a jackal.
Across, please. Across, thank you. No 50-22. Oh, he's in.
Good work at the back there by Finn Douglas. Tidies up at the back for Southern Knights.
Thank you, man. Come on, please, Green.
Jerry Blythe Lafferty thrown to the line out. And Douglas still getting some treatment. Jumps back to his feet and will be called into action in defence here. It's in the hands of Jerry Blythe Lafferty, who breaks away. Dealt with by Rudy Brown. Herb Demerel in there as well, just trying to stop that ball coming out. And this time it's the Southern Knights who create them all. Doesn't come back in the Bears side. It'll be a Southern Knights scrum. We've got about 2 or 3 minutes left in this one. And it's fair to say that the Bears will leave the Greenyards with a solid bonus point victory. Dale, time for you to think about your FOSROC player of the match.
Let's go.
I think there's a couple of players out there. I think mostly on the Boroughmuir Bears side. You know, for the Southern Knights, I think the back rows performed well, but equally the same can be said for Boroughmuir Bears.
Let's go,
I think
please.
that McConnell and McGinley were good. Westlake's been impressive. I mentioned King as well. I think he's been really impressive now, playing back in the back row. But I think that all only works if your nine's ticking, and you can see the try that Brodie Young got. You know, being able to capitalise on that good play that he's getting his forwards into good areas. So the FOSROC player of the match is Boroughmuir Bears number 9, Brodie Young.
Out into the wide channels again go the Southern Knights. Aidan Cross with those pink boots, tackled just short of halfway. And then Rory Brand spins his way through contact, finds Alan Ferry, takes play up over halfway. Brand again runs with the ball, space opens up in front of him. Dragged down eventually by Ian Carmichael. Aidan Cross in his scrum half. De Grieve, the Melville flat pass that was intended for Finn Douglas, instead taken by Rudy Brown. He's working out there in the wide channels, the big number 8. Back to Alan Ferry. Thought about the pass, instead just drives another 2 or 3 metres forward. The Southern Knights work their way up towards the 22. Again through the hands of the half-backs to Adam Hall. Not had much space this afternoon. Southern Knights inside centre. Bears pile into that breakdown again, but it should come back. Well, the referee allowed blasting the whistle. I think somebody perhaps injured, as the Boroughmuir Bears trying to disrupt the Southern Knights' possession again at the breakdown. Looks like Jack Fisher has taken a sore one in there.
Yeah, it was quite physical in that breakdown, and especially the build up to it as well. A lot of big carries. You know, that's what you get at this level, this Super Series level. The physicality of all the players and all the teams. They certainly do not hold back. I think Jack Fisher perhaps has just been caught in the wrong position. A bit of pain on the left leg there. You see a carry forward, big challenge. Adam Hall carrying well in there, but Fisher getting himself in a good position to try and jackal that ball. You can see his leg just in the wrong position, and the big squeal as well as he notices that he's perhaps done something slightly innocuous, but definitely sore. He just came out the side of that ruck, and okay, that's the danger. It's a big talking point in the game as well when you're going in over the ball, getting your body in a really awkward position. You know, you're running the risk of injuries, and they can be, you know, the most serious of injuries. But it's good to see him back on his feet now, hobbling back into position. So all is well.
Is it a decent game? Again, real workhorses. The Bears second rows, Josh Kenyon, Jack Fisher. Nothing fancy, very solid carry ball, good in the line out.
I like Josh Kenyon. I think he is a good player. Obviously, he played a bit in Stirling. He played for Biggar as well. You know, he was also kind enough to give us free champagne at Bonnie Badger where he worked. So he was. I think it would have been a little bit amiss of me if I awarded him player of the match. But you know, he's just never stopped. Great engine, and I think that's what they get from their second rows.
Time has gone beyond the 80-minute mark, so last chance for Southern Knights. It's dropped by Rory Brand, but backwards. It's still Brand in possession. Goes a ball over his shoulder, back inside. Aidan Cross again. Heavily involved in the game in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Brand again goes digging. Off to Cammy Thompson. In the squad today, a Kelso player. And now there's space out there. Root the ball. This one will have to sit up for Douglas. Back instead goes Callum Ram. He scored the last try for Boroughmuir Bears and finishes the game by touching down behind his own goal line as the referee blows for full time. Certainly an evenly matched first half. Boroughmuir Bears going in just 2 points ahead. They had the better of the second half with 2 tries through Mason Cullen and Callum Ram. We'll look at those in just a second. The Boroughmuir Bears well worth their win here this afternoon.
Yeah, I thought they were narrowly the better team in the first half, and then they were the best team in the second half by quite a distance. I think they just played rugby in the right areas. They were able to really squeeze Southern Knights and really force them into errors, and it was the errors that ended up gifting and rewarding Boroughmuir Bears with the final prize. So certainly a well-deserved victory from the men from Megaland.
So Mason Cullen, the Boroughmuir Bears right wing, scored the Bears bonus point try 8 minutes into the second half. That was a long ball thrown out by Quinlan. We thought perhaps should have gone through the hands. Cullen still had a lot of work to do. 2 defenders in front of him, good footwork, and over he went for the try.
Yeah, again, brilliant play from the forwards just to set that up. Persistent pressure, and then as you say, perhaps the other options were available, but just able to throw that big loopy pass to Cullen, and that's exactly what he feeds off. That's what he wants. He wants those the balls in one-on-one situations, so he can dart back inside, and great footwork off his right foot, back in field, just evades a couple of challenges, and the dive over the line just evades Callum Grave, not able to get underneath him.
And then Callum Ram, replacement fullback, who somehow got his way out of about 5 Southern Knights tackles, the ball thrown hopefully in field by Joe Jenkins, bounced up nicely for Ram, and then he wriggled his way down that right touchline and scored a try that really killed this one off.
Yeah, that was the try that really took the wind out of the sails of the Southern Knights, because there was still a game to be played, and it's just probably the worst thing will be is how soft it came, because Boroughmuir Bears were well contained there. The ball goes loose, Southern Knights aren't able to grab it, and Ram is able just to squeeze through, keeps that free arm as well, and then powers his way towards the line, and it's that little kick of the heels as well which just tries to evade the defenders, and Finn Douglas is never getting back to make that tackle. And it was that, after that we still had a bit of time to play, but certainly, Boroughmuir Bears well deserved of their victory.
You see confirmation of the final score there. Let's have a look at all of the results from this weekend. Starting on Friday night, the Ayrshire Bulls had a thumping win over Watsonians Rugby. Remember, led only 26 points to 24 at half time, but then raced away with it in the second half against 14-man Watsonians Rugby. 13 tries in total in that game last night, quite unbelievable. And then our 3 o'clock kick-off at Golden Acre this afternoon, it was Heriot's Rugby who saw off the challenge of Stirling Wolves, 26 points to 19. And then our final game of the weekend, Southern Knights 19, Boroughmuir Bears 33. So the league table, with the 6 scheduled league games played ahead of next weekend's playoffs, and it's the Ayrshire Bulls sitting pretty at the top. Not had things all their own way, 1 loss and 1 draw. So they're only 2 points ahead of Heriot's Rugby, a real turnaround in form for them. And that first against second playoff will be through at Milbury next Friday night. And then Watsonians Rugby will take on Stirling Wolves at 5 o'clock next Saturday, and the third against fourth playoff. And then we'll have a repeat of this game up at Meggetland next weekend. So Boroughmuir Bears will certainly go into that one as favourites, having seen off the challenge of Southern Knights down here at the Greenyards this afternoon. Can the Knights turn things around next Saturday at 3 o'clock? So thank you for watching and joining us for all of our games this weekend, and we'll be back next weekend with those playoff finals.